Hi, welcome to my channel. So I've had this channel about 13 years, and this is the first time in 13 years that I've actually filmed myself on this particular channel. I do have other channels, but what I really wanted to do with this channel was to make it predominantly about paranormal investigations. So if you kind of got any thoughts about the way I sound, the way I look, just check out my description, and hopefully that'll explain a few things. So essentially, my group, my team have been investigating a place in Staffordshire called Cannock since probably about March 2019. We've carried out about 15 investigations. I've done a few solo. I've never really documented any. You'll find a couple of videos on this channel which are just like raw footage from Cannock, and it might not mean anything. So I'm kind of trying to give my videos a little bit more structure now, just so you kind of know where we are, what we're doing. I won't go too much into the theoretical side of some of the conclusions we perhaps draw up, or some of the theories we maybe kind of tease out, because that's something for my kind of Facebook group, and I really wouldn't want to take the smoke and fire away from that, because that's their that's their theories as well, and it would seem like I'd be stealing that to, bolster my own channel. So as I've said, I carried out about 15 investigations. There's about 30 of us in our team. Some have never been on investigations, and then you'll get different kind of combinations of people who, depending on availability, will turn up for an investigation. Sometimes there'll only be 4 of us, but like the investigation I'm about to show you, there was 14 of us, so that meant we had to split into 2 groups and use two-way radios for that. So yeah, a lot of the members are also members of their own paranormal teams, but we kind of come together on this longitudinal project, which is Cannock, and it's great to have like their different skills and their different expertise, because it gives us so much more kind of theoretical information to kind of play with. A couple of members of our team have been investigating Cannock for decades, so I'm I'm pretty much a novice when it comes to Cannock. I'm learning all the time, and the more I know, the more questions I have, the more fascinating the place becomes. So I won't really kind of go into the ins and outs of the theories, as I've said, but I will introduce you to this investigation. And hopefully this is like the kind of way I'm going to be posting these investigations on YouTube and other media. I didn't want this to be an all singing and dancing kind of glossy production where you have intro gothic music, then you have me talking into a camera about the history of the place. And I didn't really kind of want to have investigations where I am the focal point of an investigation, the camera is on my face. For the most part, I tried to be as quiet as I could, so that if anybody else were talking, you'd probably pick up other members of the team. But I would be the kind of quiet person behind the camera. A couple of times I do kind of talk, and so yeah, I'm not really kind of that comfortable with hearing my own voice back. But hey, it's something that I've kind of learned to kind of put up with, and the main thing for me is that I kind of get across these investigations. So essentially what we'll be doing is just posting a little bit of an intro to each investigation, a few of the nuts and bolts information bits that you need to understand about where we were, numbers, etc. And then literally just a raw footage, and hopefully you will see my little face in the corner, and I'll be watching the raw footage for the first time, along with you all. So I haven't seen this footage, and so what I do ask is, if you see anything that's of interest, and this is the first time you're kind of watching it, just flag up the time and what you thought you saw or heard, and I can then review it, and maybe in a comments section below I'll be able to sort of debunk or not debunk, if the case may be, any sounds or noises that perhaps I experienced on the evening, but going back to it, I would probably know what it is. So yeah, you'll be seeing the raw footage at the same time as I'm seeing it, and I think that's really important. That's great for me because I'll be kind of focused in the corner. I won't comment. I won't have any commentary over the video, and at the end, maybe I'll be able to kind of hopefully summarise what I think I've just heard or seen. And if there's nothing, then there's nothing, and that's pretty much most paranormal investigations. You'll have an awful lot of very little. Now, in this particular investigation, I did think I'd recorded an hour and 40-something minutes. However, kind of on review, something happened in between, so I've kind of got two separate files. And I was going to kind of link them all together and do one big file. So for this, I'm going to do a part 1 and a part 2. There'll be very little intro for the part 2, so the majority of the intro will be now. And I'll give it like a tiny little summary at the end of this intro, a tiny little intro at the next part 2, and a tiny little summary of that. So what can I tell you about this investigation? So there's 14 of our team. We're investigating an area of Cannock Chase known as Birches Valley. A couple of members of our team have been there before. They're from their own paranormal investigation group, and I will drop a few links to other members, their own personal teams, because I think it's important to kind of credit people for their contribution if I can. But I won't be giving names of anybody else involved on the investigation because that's, a private thing, and unless they expressively ask for their names to be given, then we'll just kind of keep it like that. Names, you may hear names mentioned throughout the investigation, but I won't embellish on that. I won't expand on it. So yeah, there was 14 of us on the investigation. It was about 26 degrees. This was 8:30 at night. We were investigating Birches Valley. I've never been there before. I was really looking forward to it. It's quite a vast area. And I think the first couple of frames you'll see will be the maps. So I'll kind of run through them probably quickly as it happens. And then I'll just kind of shut up and put my headphones on. So this particular area is very close to a campsite and an activity centre, so I'll talk about them as well. We didn't really kind of have any major plans when investigating this area. It's very much a kind of reconnaissance, if you like. So I had no prior knowledge to very much paranormal activity to do with this area. I know there is. I've never really looked into it. I know there might be a few urban myths surrounding this area. Again, I've never really looked into that. I kind of essentially wanted to go into it cold and just kind of soak up any sounds and experiences that I could, as was probably the case with the rest of the team. And the two guys who were leading our investigation, they had been there before. They had experienced stuff, so for them, they could probably layer that onto their investigation previously with their own group, and hopefully, we can build up a knowledge base about what we think is kind of going on there. Is there anything else I need to kind of talk about this investigation? The temperature was pretty hot, and this was 8:30 at night. Around about 12 o'clock, the temperature felt probably about 22 degrees, so it was still very warm. It wasn't as kind of muggy or uncomfortable as I imagined it would be, and we weren't necessarily attacked by millions of flies like I could maybe expect. So the rest of my explanations will start when the video starts, and I will kind of pause the video just to explain the maps, etc. So kind of without further ado, as I say, welcome to this channel. I hope you enjoy this style of producing a video. It's not polished by any means. It's very, very raw, and perhaps later on I will introduce a smoother transition between photos and video, etc., etc. But I know that guys who can't get out to investigate, to actually just see the raw footage without any whistles or bells or people kind of putting on, people kind of like performing for cameras and stuff like that. Hopefully this will feel very refreshing, and you'll be able to take maybe more from this. and I'm hoping that this is as close as to perhaps, an investigation as you can kind of get to, really, without actually being there. The other thing I will explain is, and forgive me for the shaky cam footage. It is a handheld camera, and it does kind of move about a bit, and I did hand it to somebody else to kind of hold for a while, so that it may be kind of waving about quite a lot at some point during this filming. It's just kind of to be expected when you're carrying so much equipment and you're having to carry a hand cam as well. So you're having to get equipment out of your bag, put equipment back in your bag. It's very dark, so you need to know where you put the equipment down. You can't really kind of afford to leave anything behind. We nearly did that on this investigation, but it's not. So we nearly kind of did lose some equipment behind, but it wasn't really that much of a problem, and we did pick it up at the end. So yeah, so that would explain why there is a lot of kind of shaking around the handheld night vision camcorder. So hopefully when I've edited this, the transition will be a little bit smoother than what it is now. I'm going to take you through a couple of just basically maps, and hopefully YouTube's okay with me using Google Maps. If not, I'll have to kind of come back and re-edit these out and just jump straight into the actual footage. So the first map is off Birches Valley, and you can see the whole of Cannock Chase. So towards the bottom, I'm not sure if you'll pick up the mouse pointer. So towards the bottom is Castle Ring. Then towards the side you have the German Cemetery. At the top you have Brockford Milford Common, which is a great paranormal hotspot. You've got the Stepping Stones, and in the centre you have this like vast area that's known as Birches Valley. So this next picture shows the general route we took. So it was from an area by a pub which is actually closed down, and we walked kind of parallel to the Penkridge Bank. I don't know if it's Penkridge Bank Road or it's just called Penkridge Bank. But anyway, there was a very lively campsite there. Then as we kind of like started to go into Birches Valley, we have to go past the Go Ape Activity Centre, and again there were people still there, although they were just about to kind of close various facilities, etc. So we have to kind of consider the liveliness of his campsite, and maybe because it was still light by the time we got down to this point, and this was our point of entry into the forest, it was still light. There would still be a few people about. So again, this is our point of entry. Now, just to explain that the route took us to an elevation of 30 metres above the road and above this path. So essentially we were elevated up a little bit, and again this is something that we have to kind of take in as a consideration if we were to kind of pick up any surrounding kind of sounds. We were using a parabolic microphone at one point, and these parabolic microphones are fantastic. You can pick up some amazing sounds from kind of peripheral environment, but we're still kind of getting used to the parabolic microphone, and we're still trying to understand how much range it has on it. And I think once we can understand the range, then I think maybe that'll make it easier for us to eliminate certain other sounds. So it could be people, children, etc. But there'll be some places that you go that you know that there can't be any sound, especially if we're in a valley. So yeah, we used parabolic mic. We've got a night cam. We've used a night vision cam. We've got various. I think EVPs. We may have been capturing some electronic voice phenomena. I need to kind of double check that up with the other guys. We used K2 meters, tri-field meters, spirit boxes. We use a variety of equipment. We don't always use it all at once. So I will say, for the purpose of this video, there was quite a bit of talking during the video, and people want to kind of share what they've just heard, have their opinions about stuff, and this is the life of a paranormal investigation. So without further ado, I'm going to put my headphones on now, and hopefully I will join you all on this this little adventure we had on the 8th of August at Birches Valley in Cannock Chase.
I don't know if I could literally walk into the bush which you can hear it, literally walk through and there's a really good I've just heard someone about that when people are there. Someone that you can hear the trick, you can literally hear someone walking through the bush. And then there's a really bad
Sorry, I'm just going to load some batteries in.
I did hear some. I heard it down there and then keep on through there. Yeah.
I'll get the night vision scope out and then...
So I've trying to make that appear traffic news.
It's only traffic news.
Yeah.
It's a really stupid.
No, that was like a snap. Did you hear that for me?
I heard like
Sorry, just going to pause it there just to point out that we had split into two separate teams. So we kept in touch by two-way radio. So if you do see any lights in the background, it could well be the other team.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I just heard through this. I picked that up through that.
Tell me you didn't hear that. It went.
Yeah, I heard that through here then.
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that. I definitely heard that through here.
I heard like.
Did you hear that for me?
I heard like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I just heard through this. I picked that up through that.
Tell me you didn't hear that. It went.
Yeah, I heard that through here then.
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that. I definitely heard that through here because I thought it was
I
in the
heard
I
it.
thought
For
it was
miles
something else.
to hear it. I was just a million miles away. I was thinking about tomorrow's dinner. Alright.
That's usually actually, Kim, that's the best way to be when,
It picked up-
because that's when things come.
Oh, yeah, I have to, but I panic, you know.
I think my parents are
Yeah. Is there one recorded? Were you recording?
I can put stuff on there. I'm not good.
Is that one recorded?
I don't know if it's mistaken for a car.
The first time.
No, the
No.
first time, no.
Kim, I've got it.
Anybody got the K2?
Yeah, there's one on there.
Cool. Oh, brilliant. Okay. So if you're a spirit that frequents this forest, come forward and show yourself to us. We're not here to kind of bear you any harm. Just here to kind of pay our respects to the forest. If you're there, Cannock, come forward.
Yeah, multi-second. Does anybody here with us? Can you step towards us, please? Come towards the machines and make the lights go off so we know you're here with us. Yeah, that. That was over there. Thank you.
Yeah, it was.
That was me.
That was.
Is there someone walking in the woods? Is someone with us?
I'll put it in my hand. No.
Hello? The spirit in the woods, could you walk towards the green light please and make it go to red? Can we hear that growl again if that was you?
There's someone over there. That must be our lot.
Really?
That's what I'm saying.
Like that thinking?
You know, just the torch.
I think Toby's
Yeah.
up there though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the other lot there.
Yeah, I'd probably walking back with her. Did you not hear that owl? Kim heard one.
No, I didn't.
But it was like a ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that. I didn't hear that. It felt like it was over there. But
Yeah.
there was a car about 30 seconds later. You could hear a car in the distance.
Okay.
So it's hard to say.
It's very... You don't know, really.
There's so much. It
Someone else wants to.
No, thank you.
it picks up so much sound. You don't know where or what or
You just don't know where it's coming from. Or,
no.
and that's one thing that does block your senses for.
It's orientating, isn't it?
Just it.
Which nothing in there.
That must be them. Is it them, Gail? What? You can't see anyone? No people? The guys should... See the torches?
Yeah. Still moving.
You can see the torches, can't you? Oh God, don't you spooky me out now. Mm.
Just turn the torches off a second, guys, so I can get a clear view for the night scope.
Let's turn the torches on. They're showing it out to us. You'd hear them talking. It's probably fucking Simon wandering off.
Gail, have you had anything done where you are?
No, but am I looking at your torchlight from here?
You're in that's just come on. Yeah, we can see your red torch from here as well.
Oh,
Okay, as long as that's you.
which one went off? Oh look, that one went off. I haven't got my phone on me. I've got my phone bits on there.
Mine's on airplane.
It might be the wall.
And Simon's not
I just
on.
wonder if it's a walkie.
Oh, damn.
Well, it's announced then anyway.
Is this recording?
It is actually, yeah.
Oh, I have no idea what you have got because it's been all over the place.
It's alright, it looked like Blair Witch, wouldn't it?
Any noises?
Yeah,
You might have got that ground.
probably me gas
Did
bagging.
you hear that ground?
I definitely heard that through the mic.
I heard it over there. I heard it definitely.
I didn't hear it.
It was quite loud as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
I heard it, I was standing there.
Interesting.
Where is it? Which direction, Martha?
From the owl, I think, behind us.
From behind
We
us?
heard that, didn't we?
Interested?
Yeah. So he told me it from behind us. I was standing there doing my thing.
So that's them lot up there then.
Yeah.
His son said he's acting out, and he didn't react. I said to him,
What I heard wasn't an owl. I know what an owl sounds like.
no, that was the
It
ground,
wasn't
but
an
then
owl.
we heard an hour later, didn't we? We had like a...
The owl and the growl.
Up there.
Yeah, down there.
Where you put them in?
There is a light in the far distance.
Yeah.
I was in it earlier.
That's what caught my eye. I find it peaceful here. I'm not finding it like...
Yeah. Not getting any eerie
I'm not
feelings.
getting any...
Right.
Yeah, it's no like...
No, they're alright. But I've not seen nothing looking at us yet.
Is that like someone who's looking at around you?
Yeah, they're like some other person, but if they'll fret them one of them. Yeah. There's a big tiger. I'll be sorry. It's not very
It's
far.
not ground. It's not ground.
Your best.
We had a small ground, haven't we?
Probably strong in the stomach.
Sounds quite loud to me.
Yeah.
I definitely picked
I
it up
heard
on
it.
the
What's
mic.
that?
And definitely it wasn't a car.
I had to keep working.
I don't know if I'm just going to put this in the banana. She says I should put some on.
Yeah, keep it on for a bit. You never know.
I definitely find it quite peaceful.
Yeah, we know what we're hearing then.
So there's something growling from down this way. Does your camera work in the dark? Is it?
No. No, yours does, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's not great, but I kind of got added the torch to it too.
It's not bad.
So turn it off and
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Not bad.
But the microphone's a good thing on this.
Yeah.
Your microphone's working now, isn't it? You're able to use a microphone on that.
I got a mic on here.
Yeah. I bet that should pick up that ground if it was there.
I wasn't recording when that was I wasn't when the oh, did you hear what sounded like a girl laughing? A little girl laughing in the woods. We heard it really clearly, but I
Oh,
wasn't.
is that with the things on there?
No, it was
Oh, we're just
Marie heard it too. It was really quite distinctive.
well, we are in the right place for little girls
Yeah.
laughing in the woods because I think that's how that would be the black-eyed girls thing.
Yeah.
The black-eyed girl is an interesting phenomenon because although it's connected with Cannock Chase. The first time I ever read about it was to do with out in places like Utah and stuff.
Really?
And what was happening was people were seeing this black-eyed girl. Then a couple reported that there was a knock on their door, and they were in one of these farmsteads. And out the door was a girl and a boy. And they were trying to ask them if they were all right and stuff, and they were a bit concerned, so they let them in. And they were in there for, I don't know how long they were in there for, but they were just like, they just felt something was just not, they weren't human. And their eyes were black, and they were just like sat there for a bit. Then there was another knock on the door, and there was two figures in black, dressed in black, and the girl and the boy went out, and they went in the car and they drove off. Wow. And the couple then became quite ill, very ill, with radiation poisoning. Wow. So my kind of thoughts about the black-eyed girl was that it kind of originated, perhaps it was like extraterrestrial or something. Mm. So I think the black-eyed girl Cannock Chase is a kind of a different animal in a way. But you never know, because if there's like UFO activity, I mean there was a UFO crashing, supposedly there was a crash in Penkridge, the British Roswell, and that's just down the road, it's just over there. It's about 1962, I think, or 1964. Wow. Actually, no, it was 1973, I think it was, when the child murderer was dumping the bodies up here. But oh shit, somebody got hugger.
Oh no. Oh god, do you need some light? No.
Hello, over a copy.
What was that, sorry?
Did you just give us a shout then?
Sorry, are you coming over to us, are you? We can see your torchlight coming over, you see.
Oh yeah, we can do, yeah. We can move over to. We heard a growl from down the hill where we came from.
Just heard voices, you see, and some strange sort of noises, and we actually thought you were closer than you are. We can see your torch.
Actually, can you tell me what gender the voices might have been?
Some of us have heard it think female, then a mixture of both, but not all of us have heard it, you see.
Copy, yeah, Toby's just heard a female voice. Right, we'll saddle up and come over to you now, as I've got to cut me bits and pieces. I've always had a big stick.
I wasn't even in the break, but it was on it. Not even with the dog.
I've been into woods like this on Cannock Chase during the day by myself. It's stupid. Just on our way over to you now.
Okay, girl, we'll hang fire for you.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So they've heard a female voice, which wasn't them. You've heard a female voice, which...
Yeah, I mean, what Marie and I heard sounded like a little girl laughing, for sure. And we just thought, was it camping or something? But it's not over there, is it? I mean, it was over to our left.
I mean, sound can carry, but I don't think it carries that far. If if you was out here, right, and you was like, would you kind of try a mushroom just to see if you could survive without knowing what it was?
No, never. No. I mean, if it definitely looked like a field mushroom. But I follow this Facebook page all about mushrooms, and it sort of lights up around mushroom season, and people are posting all these images. And like, it seems like every photo is something different. And they're like, oh, let's look at the gills, oh, let's look at this. And
Well, it's quite useful. But then the most kind of common mushroom looks just like the deadliest mushroom.
yeah, there's one called yellow. People often find those, and there's something to do. If you put it in the microwave, if you boil it, it goes yellow. But that's a white mushroom, and it looks just like one that is edible. And there's so many like that there, you know.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
I'm so glad.
Beautifully. That is the most scariest thing I've seen. Quick, run. Lisa, run. Oh.
It's coming back down, Kim.
Put your hood up.
It's not going back down. That is pretty big, I reckon.
Oh God.
I think it was a bubble back, Marty.
Did you hear screaming?
I really want to get myself one of those kind of like little bats, but I just kind of think it would be like just my luck that the police patrol would kind of like have picked me up with this kind of bat thing in my bag, ready to knock a tree with it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, not like a squeaking bat.
Like a baseball bat.
Yeah, but you know, like something small but hard and durable.
Yeah.
Just say he's looking for rotten sticks and stuff.
That is my first. No, that is my first.
I just heard a twig snap behind.
Yeah, I just heard something as well. That's what I picked up.
Just behind us.
Behind that way?
Yeah,
That way?
this
I
way.
thought it was more down.
That
Way
way.
down here.
By the tree?
Just down,
I
down.
heard it, but I thought nothing of it.
So you know as I walk past the tree and it's hanging off that tree there, it's like something sitting on it. You can hear it like creaking.
Oh, we heard a creaking.
We heard creaking further down. We heard like a ha 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 in a creek.
So we heard like a little laugh. Somebody laughing.
Oh, we heard that.
Like a girl, wasn't it?
Yeah, we heard a girl. We heard
Yeah.
a girl laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely as I walk past that tree, I think, oh, my cat in my bag. But it's like somebody's got on the tree. Yeah.
As soon as they're moving in, and the torches to it, the noises stop, don't they? And the wind. Yeah.
That was the end of part one. There's quite a few low-level activity kind of like noises. I think we heard like what sounded like a cow, but that could have easily been a car, and clearly it wouldn't be a cow anyway. With the twig snapping and things like that, it's easy to imagine that that could potentially be a deer. I think because in this particular area of forest, there isn't a lot of cover for a deer to hide, so I'm a little bit dubious to say it maybe was a deer. Right, it's kind of worth mentioning is we all generally put our phones on flight, which means that they shouldn't interfere with the K2 or the tri-field meters. But what will interfere with the meters is the two-way radios. So there was a point in a video where I think a member of the team actually mentioned that the tri-field meters reacting, but that would have just simply been me talking on the two-way radio. So yeah, if you've managed to pick anything up at all in that video, please let me know. I was curious about, there was points of light about 5 minutes towards the end. I think that may have been the other team. I didn't question it at the time, so I'm fairly confident that was probably the other team. The other thing was, I did pan the camera back down where we'd come from, and the great thing is that the microphone on my camera, it feels very directional, so rather than picking up what's behind me with the rest of the team, I think it was like actually focusing more on what we'd left behind, so which was great because you can then you're able to then pick up any sounds if they occur. And I did hear some kind of movement back down the trail, but I'm not sure if it was maybe just birds or animals or something. I didn't actually see any movement, to be fair. So that was the end of part one. I will do kind of a brief intro into part two. Why I'm not quite entirely sure why my files were split into two, but it just may have been a glitch in the recording.